We're back once again, and before we went to break, we promised that we would talk about how do companies get involved with being in the Technology Assistance Center. And what that question brought to mind for me is what makes a company successful as an incubator company. So perhaps you can share some of those qualities with us, Charlotte, and also tell us a little bit about the TAC, its status, and how people become involved.
Sure. The Technology Assistance Center was set up, as mentioned, to primarily focus on technology, or what we call high-tech companies here in Prince George's County. The incubator program is, and companies stay through the program based on really their strategic plan, but the average time is about 3 to 5 years for a company to go through the incubator program and to graduate, and we have some particular standards around that. But what I think is, and basically, to answer your other question about, there's an application process. We have a review team that takes a look at those applications. Right now, we have a current waiting list, so we hopefully will have some space available in the next few months. But so if people are interested, they at least need to get the application in, and so that they can get through the review process so that they can then be placed on the waiting list. But what I think has made companies successful in the program has been kind of a lot of the characteristics we've talked about. People come in and we really try to frame a strategic plan around what their particular company needs to do to graduate, okay? Because the goal is not to keep them in the program, but to help them graduate and become, I guess, a normal, active business member of the society and get through that incubation period. So that takes a lot of things that we talked about, which is hopefully taking advantage of our financing services, looking at credit lines, what do we need to do as they grow and move to the next level of growth, looking at their strategic development, working with their team on the strategic development part. And so that's what I like about my staff, really having a team of people that can work with our companies individually to take them to that next level of growth.
It's a good opportunity to mention your staff.
Yes. They're doing great. They're actually spread around some procurement events today.
So share their names.
Sure. Is Angie Duncanson. There's Tony Miles. There's Crystal Ballard. Sean Branch. Sean Branch is our actual coordinator for the Technology Assistance Center. And then we have 3 other staff as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. I just want to call their names.
I know.
Now, in all the services that Charlotte just mentioned, I believe that Angarai has been one of the beneficiaries and one of the companies has taken advantage of that. Share some of the experiences you've had.
I started the company in my basement.
Mm-hmm.
And we started, growing through the basement. And one day we needed to take a conference call, and one of my staff, Chris Gopal, decided to take the call using my dining table. And my wife walked in and threw us all out. But what's been great about the incubator is that when we knocked on the door, there was a very welcome feeling, be it Quasi, be it Kevin Malachi, or the staff, the whole entire team from SBI, and we leverage them. Angie helps us to narrow down in terms of opportunities, looking at the federal opportunities. They have their own internal systems by which they track the opportunities that come out. Typically the way, as we all know, the way it works in a federal space from a business perspective is that if I see an opportunity only in an RFP, it's way too late. So as a business, it's very critical for us to know what's our space, and we have to be constantly working on it. We cannot be everything to everyone. If we have that narrow focus in terms of saying, where is that I want to focus on? What's our laser focus approach? Quite frankly, for us, if it's not in program project management, governance, compliance, organization change development, we don't touch it. If it's not in health and human services, defense, or transportation, we don't touch it. So it's kind of a 3x3 matrix is what we have. With the health and human services, transportation, and defense being the 3 verticals, program and project management, governance and compliance, organization change development being our 3 rows. So if it's not in our sweet spot, we don't go after it because it's not an effective use of everyone's time. What we do here with TAC is that Angie helps us in terms of the opportunities that comes out of it. Crystal sends us mails. As a matter of fact, the 3rd Wednesday mail that Charlotte was talking about, we get a mail from Crystal every time. So that's kind of how the communication goes. When we have financial needs, we always walk up to, Shelley Wade and Ebony, and Sharon of FSC. When we have resource needs, we go to One Stop Shop. Jeffrey and Hassan has been very supportive of us. So the idea is, great resources, great tools to leverage, but you should know what you want. You don't walk into Angie's office and say, tell me what can I get business for. That's not what she's here for.
What you need to do is get Angarai to help you develop and establish your core competencies.
Right.
And then you go over to SBI and you talk to Angie and the rest of the staff to find out how to narrow that down.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be more than happy to. www.angarai-intl.com.
That's exactly where I was going to go. That was too quick. Tell them where to go.
Okay. It is 301-583-4653. Angarai, and our address, we are located in the incubator, 1100 Mercantile Line, Suite 115A, Largo, Maryland, and our website is www.angarai-intl.com, ANGARAI-INTL.com.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
It's Duxor.
Sure. Our website address is www.pgcedc.com, and the phone number is 301-583-4650. Give us a call. We'd be happy to talk with you about our small business services as well as our technology incubator services.
Now, what do you want people to do? If there was one thing that you could tell a business to do right now that they're not already doing, what would that be?
I think the first thing would probably be, you need to have a vision. And I think that's important. And then we can cultivate that. We can create resources around that. But create a vision and a roadmap for where you want to go so that we can help you along that journey.
And if there was one thing that you could say to the audience, what would that be?
Be clear in what you want and know network. At the end of the day, people would like to work with people. Develop partners, relationship, and this has to be not just a business model, but it has to be a passion for life.
Now, you talk about core competencies. This is the last point that we're going to touch upon. You said your sweet spot, your this, your that, but those core competencies, how critical are they?
That's our lifeline.
And what do you take to get to that?
Well, basically, these did not happen by accident. These are our core competencies where we have expertise, experience, training, and our models that we have developed, and most importantly, a demonstrated success with our partner agencies where we have shown them this. So you need to know, as a business, as Charlotte mentioned, you need to absolutely have a clear vision. But as part of that is to identifying who you are. Mm-hmm. Who you are, what's the niche you can serve, how can you be successful, and how can you make others successful in the process. And definitely, TAC is a great place for those kind of resources to be tapped. But you going into the building, we knew what we wanted and where we want to go, and they could align their resources for it. And that's the great thing about TAC. That's critical. We need to know what we want.
Absolutely. Now, you have a few programs coming up. We're going to take the last few minutes for you to tell people what they need to come to and what they need to get on the website to find out about.
Sure. As I mentioned, if there are any companies out there in the county who are doing defense IT or healthcare IT, we're customizing a program to those CEOs and would love to hear from them. We've had a couple of focus groups, but we'd love to hear from them so that we can customize something that works for them. And I just want to say one last point that just made me think about this, Pat, was that, through a company's life cycle, there are tough times. We've talked a lot about, the awards and all of that, but tough times do come. And as Venkat said, they had a very clear vision because every company has its ups and downs. And part of our role there also is to be there to support you through those challenging times so that you can stay on course, so that you can keep the vision. And I think that's important for us to say that.
And I can vouch. I have a first-hand experience on that with Charlotte and TAC.
Okay, well, we're gonna let them have the last word. We're going to thank Monica Bisco, our production manager. We're going to thank Alonzo, our engineer over there. We have Toya coming up. She's going to be up next in a few minutes. I want you to come back next week. Don't forget, come back, same time, same place, EconoBlast Live. Signing off, I'm Pat Thornton. Have a great week.
1450 WOL, where information is power.